Good morning. It's time to go on the record.
We've been on pause, and we need to get off pause. We need to start playing the right track and getting our city back into one mode.
The presumed mayor of Lawrence, Dan Rivera, is our guest today. It appears that he has slayed the political dragon in the Merrimack Valley, William Lantigua. We will talk about all of it.
It's not about me. I'm here and I'm traveling all around the country. As a matter of fact, all around the world to actually bring forward my message of unity.
Senator Scott Brown is back in Iowa. That's when he's not making trips to New Hampshire. When does the Republican need to make a political decision? Or will he? And speaking of senators...
Looking ahead, admittedly way too early, at possible presidential candidate Elizabeth Warren.
From WCBB Boston, the inside word from Washington to Beacon Hill. Today's newsmakers are going on the record.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ed Harding, along with News Center 5's political reporter, Janet Booth. Thank you for joining us on OTR this morning. Our guest is the mayor-elect of Lawrence, Dan Rivera. He caused an upset earlier this month when he narrowly defeated incumbent mayor William Lantigua by less than 60 votes. The outcome of the Lantigua-requested recount is expected to be announced in the week ahead. Dan Rivera is first elected to the Lawrence City Council in 2010. He's a graduate of UMass Amherst, holds an MBA from Suffolk University. He's also an Air Force veteran. He served in Operations Desert Storm and Desert Shield. Sir, thank you for your service, and thank you for being on OTR this morning.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So as we said, the recount is still looming ahead. It's not finished, but you've got a fairly good chance of becoming the next mayor of Lawrence. The city, frankly, has been in crisis for a very long time. So what difference can you make, at least in the short term?
I mean, right off the bat, we have to just get the support of our community back. We have to let people know that Lawrence is a place where good people live, where people looking for jobs and are willing to work, a great immigrant workforce, that we have something to provide to businesses, and then also shore up the sense that we care about people living in our community. We've been talking about public safety, we talk about unemployment, and fixing our schools, and those three things. I mean, we have the youngest community, average age community in the state, so we want to make sure that we provide the same resources, something to make us more successful. And I think we could do that right away because everybody loves the story. You know, we had problems, and now we want to fix them, and we're honest about it.
You're dealing with what, 15% unemployment? The school system is still under state control, still struggling, dealing with plummeting housing prices and a middle class that left years ago. Why do you want the job?
Well, we're the best bargain in the state. I mean, if you want a big lot, a nice house, you're a young family, come buy a house in Lawrence, because we are on the up and coming list. We're going to be affordable, accessible. We're going to fix the school system. Listen, I took this example from the Army. When you're in a problem, you don't run. You dig in and you fight, and that's what we're going to do here. We're going to dig in, we're going to make a difference, and we're going to be a national news story when it comes to our education reform. But more importantly, when you live and grow up in a community all your life, and people talk about it in a manner that's just not what's true, what's happening on the ground, and then you have elected officials that don't really do anything to help it, you say, hey, you
Which
can't
you have. You grew up in Lawrence.
I did, yeah. I grew up there. My mom came here when I was 5 years old, and she came from New York, where she was a seamstress from New York, from the Dominican Republic. So we came here as a family, but we were just tired of it. There's so much information that gets out there about our community that's not true. But more importantly, we have so much to offer. We can compete with everybody in the state when it comes to the type of workforce that we have and the type of resources we have.
William Lantigua has been a lightning rod for controversy since almost the day that he took office. What do you feel has been the biggest problem with his 4 years in office?
Listen, my campaign had never been really about him, and our city's problems are far and wide, and they're not specific to him either. And I think that when we look back at the last 4 years, there's just a lot of missed opportunities. An opportunity to bring people together after we had a majority of, so we have a majority of people that are Hispanic in the community. So we had a majority of elected officials on the city council and the mayor. And we had this great opportunity, and just opportunity after opportunity that was missed. And I think in looking back, when you have a financial problem like we went into, when you have a crime problem like we had because we had to cut police officers and firefighters, instead of bringing us together, there was a lot of more talk about them and us, and I think that was one of the biggest problems we saw.
But what about the confidence level? Do you feel that a lot of confidence was lost in the city as far as the rest of the state is concerned, anywhere?
Yeah, I mean, when you get 60 cents out of every dollar, either from the federal government or from the state government, you sure better make sure that your stakeholders up the ladder know that you're running a good government. And we did have a problem with that, and it got to a point where people wouldn't come and take a picture of them. If you see any of these photos in the back, in the last couple of years, people just weren't coming down to Lawrence to herald the good things, because we had a bunch of great things happening. And that's one of the things we're going to change. We're going to make a promise to the community that we're going to put our best foot forward. We're going to sell Lawrence every day. If you have a company that uses a lot of water, we have the cheapest water, the most inexpensive water rate in the state, and we're going to be competitive with folks. We're going to go after businesses because we have a double-digit unemployment. That's just unacceptable.
How do you refocus the focus lens? Because in this state, when you say Lawrence, everyone thinks of La Antigua.
Yeah.
They don't see of the positives that you're talking about.
Yeah.
They see the figurehead of the mayor.
Well, first and foremost, the win is big, right? So that's the next story. It's no longer about him. It's about the fact that we in the city of Lawrence were diligent enough and worked hard enough to remove something we didn't want. So that's the first thing. Right away, we just changed the conversation. Next thing, we're going to smile more, and we're going to have a better time, and we're going to have have you guys come up for Hispanic Week and the St. Patrick's Day parade. We're going to try to be Holyoke on the St. Patrick's Day front. But it's, again, we're going to come back as a community. That's going to change the focus, because for far too long, people were in the shadows.
Do you have to clean house? Is this something you have to do? And I understand what the term means, clean house. Do you have to do something as harsh as clean house?
Well, listen, every administration, when you come into brand new, you should do a level set. Somebody should go through and check the books, check the staffing, make sure you're at the right place, make sure the right people. And we're going to do that, because if nothing else, we're hardworking, we're diligent, and we're thoughtful in the way we do things. We're not just going to go off the bat. There's some people that clearly are not doing the job. They're going to go. Some people who are doing the job, maybe people be surprised about that, and they get to stay. But this is about doing the work at the end of the day.
A lot of these questions are based on the fact that you are going to be the mayor.
Yeah.
But let me ask you, how confident are you that you are going to emerge as the mayor after the recount?
Yeah, I mean, it's statistically impossible for the levels to change. I mean, I think lightning can strike, but we are pretty sure that the will of the voters on November 5th is going to be certified when this is all done. The mayor has his right to do a recount, and I think that that's what they're exercising, and we don't, judge him for that. But at the end of the day, 58 votes is a lot of things. If you close your eyes, you think about 58 people in a room. It's not a few, and then so they have to gain us, and then they got to pass us. And I don't think that's going to be the case.
Amesbury's divided by 2.
Yeah.
So
there's one that's 22.
There's one that's 22. Yeah.
So I don't think that they're. And again, it's a resource situation, and we have the best council on board, and we have a good team. Again, we're thorough, we're professional, we're thoughtful. We're just not going to let this go away.
And do you think this will get wrapped up in the next week ahead?
I'm not sure what the time frame is, but I don't think it's going to go longer than 2 weeks.
Well, you ready for the OTR pop quiz?
Oh, I was told about this, but I think I am.
I'm sure you are. Yeah, I have full confidence.
I will say that I'm going to, my punting answer is going to be David Ortiz.
All right, he wins. He's 5 for 5. All right, since you're taking the helm in Lawrence in January, your city on the Merrimack is the topic of this week's OTR pop quiz. Question 1. It was called the Great Lawrence Strike back in May of 1912. What's its more famous name?
The Bread and Roses Strike.
It is. Main issue behind the Bread and Roses Strike was a pay cut of 32 cents a week after a new law requiring shorter work weeks. Approximately how many Lawrence workers went on strike?
David Ortiz.
Judges say you win. 30,000 workers, lasted from January to March of 1912.
I will say this, that this happened right after the Triangle Shirt Factory tragedy, where women were jumping out of the window. So there was a lot of momentum that led up to our strike.
We continue
in New York.
Well, we continue on the record with not David Ortiz, but Dan Rivera, clearly. Dan Rivera, the mayor-elect of Lawrence, is with us right now. We continue with the OTR pop quiz. Question 3. In a scathing district review in 2011, the Massachusetts Department of Education noted that a large percentage of Lawrence public school students were less than fluent in English. Ballpark number. What do you think? A large percentage of Lawrence students less than fluent in English. What was their ballpark number?
I think that if thinking about the population, less than 20%.
It was actually a little more. 24% is about 25%. 12,800 students in Lawrence Public Schools, less than proficient in English. Question 4. He was born in Lawrence in 1918, an internationally known composer of such great works as West Side Story and Candide. We are talking about... We are. And now for a more contemporary music man with Lawrence roots. Which member of the rock band Aerosmith was born in Lawrence?
I know this kid too, and he's going to kill me.
Guitarist.
It's
your average...
It's Joe.
Keep going. Perry.
Yeah.
Joe Ortiz would have worked if you.
I know. I should have said no, but I know the kid because I actually did a paper route in the neighborhood where he grew up. So
did you?
Yeah.
Great.
In the North Common.
Great, Dan.
I will give you a full point for that one.
I appreciate that.
In addition to delivering papers, you once worked for Congressman Marty Meehan. And what is your relationship, not only with him, but also with Governor Patrick, Nikki Tsongas, Senator Warren, who I know she endorsed you? Do you think that you have the political connections that you think will make a lot easier for you to jumpstart a new administration if you become mayor?
Listen, I've been very fortunate to be a proud Democrat all my life and working hard in Democratic circles. I thought if I went out there and did the worst jobs on each campaign, I could do something good. And so I was fortunate enough to work for Congressman Tierney and Congressman Meehan. I was fortunate enough to be asked to work for Elizabeth Warren, and I've been helpful with Congresswoman Nikki Tsongas. I think that I have the way to get to connect with those people. I think they all want to help Lawrence, more importantly. You can't have a gateway city our size and not be part of the congressional delegation and not want to help. So I feel like they know that somebody serious is about to take the helm, and as long as they know that, I think that they're going to come to our side. Again, we are what great democratic politics can be. I was a public school kid. I lived in public housing. I went to public college, University on Pell Grants. I'm a GI Bill kid. So all those things, and I'm the kind of that type of the best of good government.
Tom Menino's success was largely due to his visibility in the city. What did they say? 60% of the people had a personal relationship with the mayor of Boston. I mean, are you?
I love that.
Yeah.
I actually have as a personal goal. I mean, one of the things that he has as a legacy is that people said, I've met him.
Yeah.
And it's a big city, and so I want to have the same legacy. I want people to say that I've met the mayor and know that we're working hard with that. And I know Joe Cordatone in Somerville is doing some great things with backyard community meetings, and it's just like campaigning. I'm shocked. Really shocked that political folks don't get this more, don't understand this better. I was getting signatures in front of a supermarket, and I said, I'm just going to come back and do this and talk to people. And it's just so easy because people were anxious to come and sign the paper to get me on the ballot. But then also after you're the mayor, you just have to sign it with a big sign that says you're the mayor. A lot of people might not come over and just snarl at you, but people will come, and I think that's the way to do it.
We thank Dan Rivera for joining us, the mayor-elect, the presumed mayor of the city of Lawrence. Great to have you with us here this morning, sir. Coming up next on OTR, another Massachusetts poll mentioned as a presidential contender.
What are your thoughts about a potential Elizabeth Warren for president candidacy?
I don't think she has enough experience yet in government.
The next U.S. presidential election is still more than 2 years away, but that doesn't dampen America's other national pastime, handicapping potential candidates long before it's really necessary. So with that in mind, there's been some talk lately that the Bay State's senior senator, Democrat Elizabeth Warren, might consider running for president in 2016. Your thoughts?
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Warren.
I feel like it's in Elizabeth Warren's future, just maybe not yet.
I think she would be a good candidate.
Yeah, I like her. I voted for her, but I think she probably needs a little more seasoning for that role.
Do you think she's qualified?
Yeah, I think so.
I support all of her positions, but I don't think she's going to be ready to be president in 2016.
And what if you add in the possible variable of a Hillary Clinton run at the same time?
I think Hillary's got much more experience. I mean, I would be more inclined to vote for Hillary than I would for Elizabeth Warren, just on the experience factor.
No matter how much experience she has, I would support her.
So at that point, let me introduce today's OTR Political Roundtable. Democrat Mary Ann Marsh is with us this morning. Republican Ginny Buckingham is with us this morning as well. Ladies, does the lady, Elizabeth Warren has said no, but does the lady protest it too much? Mary Ann, is there something to this?
No, she's not running. But that doesn't stop Republicans, the media, and a lot of grassroots Democrats from talking about it, because the fact is she's very popular. People like her populist economic stance and the fact that she'll take on anybody, anytime, anywhere. Folks love that. And, by the way, she did sign a letter with a lot of other women senators saying that they would support Hillary Clinton. So I take her at her word.
Is the country ready for another Massachusetts politician to run for president?
I doubt it. However, she has as much experience as Barack Obama, so I suppose she's just as qualified as the next guy.
Weaving from Elizabeth Warren to Scott Brown, he gave a big speech at the Ronald Reagan dinner in Iowa this past week. So what are the tea leaves reading at this particular point? Let's hear what he had to say.
It's not about me. I'm here and I'm traveling all around the country. As a matter of fact, all around the world to actually bring forward my message of unity, trying to tell people that we can do it better and do it. We need to do it differently, however, to do it better. So it's really too early to talk about anything like that.
So what's going on here, Ginny?
What a great country. Anyone can think they can be president. It's an incredible thing. I mean, good for him. He's clearly running.
You think so?
I think so.
Speaking of Massachusetts politicians running for president, yeah.
Marianne?
Well, look, the fact is you only go to Iowa and New Hampshire if you're running for president, right? So it's Sunday. We might need a telestrator for this, but Scott Brown is going to try to play somewhere in Iowa, top 3 or so, slingshot his way to New Hampshire, and he's using that pack to try to win New Hampshire. So if he wins the New Hampshire primary, he thinks he's the next president of the United States. He's doing it on a slingshot and a prayer.
Let me ask you about one little thing that you just heard at the very beginning of what he just said. It's not about him?
It's always about him. And that's why we're talking about it. But the fact is, he's running for president of the United States. Not for the Senate in Massachusetts, in New Hampshire or anywhere else. President of the United States.
Well, in fairness, all politicians, it's all about them. So he's not the only one.
He's no one different. Moving over to back to the local politics, one of the major factors in the Boston mayoral race was the huge amount of undisclosed money, outside money, largely benefiting Mayor-elect Marty Walsh this past season. Bill Galvin has been pushing for a bill that has died in the past, forcing outside independent groups to reveal their donors and amounts before voters go to the poll. Will this actually fly, Marianne?
I don't think so. It's always better to be transparent, but the fact is voters think that any big money is dirty money, and it doesn't affect their view of it or their vote, as we saw in this last mayoral election.
More specifically, do you think they could actually push this bill through before the gubernatorial race next year?
So it depends if they think who's going to have more outside money, the Democrat or the Republican, and then they'll decide accordingly, I suspect.
In the end, that's what matters.
Right.
Okay, it's official. Boston's Mayor Tom Menino is going to Boston University after he leaves office, and the question has been raised about a conflict of interest for him, given all the BU projects before the city of Boston. Here's how Menino responded to that. Listen.
I have not involved at all. We cleared that up. We went over all those facts, and there's no conflict with myself going to Boston University at all. I mean, I haven't been involved in any of the issues for a year.
Just as a point of information, Kevin White ended up at BU too. So is BU the retirement home for Boston mayors?
Well, it's now the second one. I mean, but I think to the point about the conflict, I mean, the fact is Tom Menino not only met everybody in Boston, he helped everybody in Boston.